this thing of ours again, 53 years old. That's what we're talking about here. And we talked about the progression from the late 70s to the early 80s. And that's when the term new school was jumping around, like New Jacks and everything. But yeah, and while there were places where that was obviously coming from in the culture, but to people who were, just getting on board like me, probably like you, it didn't seem like such a stigma or such a divide. But nowadays, of course, for a while now, it's been, the gap has just grown wider and wider and wider into a chasm. Who has always been more responsible for that divide, the old school or the new school?
Okay, let me say this. It's our era. It's our era. We're responsible for that.
Why is
that? And I'll explain. So the 90s era was the era that said, we're not doing what y'all doing. We're not following what y'all follow. We're doing something else.
And see, that's why, that's why they were New Jacks. Because the era before that, the ones who started all this 50 odd years ago, they were, already starting to hate, because these New Jacks were seeing money that they never saw before. We're seeing fame that they would never even see till this day. And they started all of this. So the hate didn't start. Well, there was already hate, should I say? But tell me how it exploded with the 90s.
But see, the thing about it is like, for me, in my opinion, I don't think it was the hate that was the caveat to it. I think the concept of us wanting to do something that was more outlandish than our predecessor. We got to remember when NWA came out, they completely redefined what we talk about conceptually in hip hop. Completely. Now, when I say NWA, of course, that any group or artist along the West Coast or East Coast that fell into that category of doing things and talking about really outlandish energies, they're a part of that. Because you got to remember, we got the message before. Yeah, are you talking about things that's happening in the community? For sure. Are you talking about being poor, things like that? For sure. When NWA came out, they came out and said, fuck the police. They not saying, I wish the police would save us more than kill us. They said, no, fuck y'all.
Yeah.
We're going to do this shit ourselves.
What a turning point for hip hop, like, for real. It's not like people weren't saying that within the culture, of course, before that, but for them to put that record down,
that's why the West Coast gets the moniker of being the most blunt, in your face. Fuck you. Like, then it started to, you get the Spice Ones of the world, you get the, you get the Above the Laws of the world. Then you get on the East Coast, you get the Wu-Tangs. You're getting so many energies of like, we're gonna completely do. And you gotta remember, this is also the continuance of don't do my style. Don't do my style. This is my style. You can't, like, back in the 80s and the late 70s and the early 80s, these styles are being developed as they go. So if somebody was doing your same style, it was pretty much okay, because they're just trying to develop. Our era was no, don't do my style. As soon as I do my style, that shit is mine. You can't do that. So now we got people battling each other off of styles. Then one of the biggest things was when one thing was winning, nothing else that followed that same trend could win. It was over. When Snoop started doing this thing, it was over. So it was a great thing, but this is where I'd say it was our fault, because we started to alienate people that was directly next to us because of those same elements that got us popping.
We are also talking about like like inceptions of genres, of subgenres of hip hop, like gangster rap. That NWA pretty much is credited with starting that.
Right.
Even just
we are creating at the same time of creating. We're also alienating the objective of somebody else coming behind us. On top of that, we completely switched the concept ideas of what to talk about. Remember, they partying and having a good time for the most part, up tempo beats and things like that. Man, 90s niggas said, man, slow that shit down. We got something we got to talk about. Slow that shit down, man. That hurt us a little bit.
And shit was still rough too. And shit was still rough too. So, that's why.
It was rough. Mm-hmm. So I'm saying that our era, the 90s era, became more of a reflection of our lives. And then even though that was still great music, that shit hurt us, man, because we really feeling pain. We really in pain.
Even then, to me, man, it didn't feel like much of a divide at all between the generations. And of course, now there's multiple generations, since then. But like even at that time, like we had our Nas's and our Jay-Z's who were brought up by some of these OGs, who were still giving love to these OGs on a lot of these 90s records and these 90s albums that were coming out by these OGs and featuring them on their new stuff. I'll point to one single moment in time.
What? When?
30's the new 20 or 30 something from Kingdom Come. That's when the generation divide. That's when we really started to feel it. And I think that's when the younger generation really embraced it. Like, for real, it was like, hey, what? No, it ain't. Like, whatever. And they still had the mindset that we gave them, that hip hop is a young man's game. Like, this is what it is. And it still was at the same time. Like, look at the contrast. Like, rap was just about 30 years old at that time.
Right.
So, Jay-Z, I always giving his double talk. But yeah, I point to that. But again, especially for the young heads, because they was like, no, I don't think so. We ain't wearing no button ups. Like, what are you talking about? We ain't into that. Not to mention that Kingdom Come was one of his least favorite albums.
Least favorite albums, right.
Not of mine, but one of his least received albums.
Right.
Should we say? But yeah, that's what I go for.
Well, for me, I would say even before that is like, nah, when Puff and family came through and they started shining and misusing money. Like, hey,
oh yeah,
listen. First off, them records was great records. Can't take that away from that. But you remember the divide. I was on the side of the hip hop niggas. It was a divide between the hip hop niggas and niggas that wanted to be shining.
Shiny suits.
And had all the money in the shiny suits.
Shiny suits and them boots. I remember.
And at that point in time, this was what, 94, 95, 96. It's like, hey, either you want to be like the hip hop guys and have good lyricism, or you want to get this paper. Now, the reason why I said that's the moment where everything changes because, once again, it's in our era, and we have the ability to either bring it together or separate and alienate everybody. And
you know what's also crazy too? To add to that is we were just talking about adult contemporary hip hop. This time frame right here is when the term boom bap first started being used.
Exactly. Right. And you remember when J. Rue the Damager, when he started dissing the cats that was flossing and everything.
Yeah.
Now, what that did was when the 2000s hit, all the new generation, like, man, we're not finna even get into what y'all getting into. We finna do our own thing.
Right.
We don't care about, man, y'all trying to tell us what to do, but then y'all battling against yourself. You know what? We finna do something totally different. Then you get all of the Kanye's, even Kanye admitted years later, man, I wasn't no boom bap. I wasn't no backpack rapper. Man, I was just saying that just to get into the game. Man, I'm a weirdo. I'm on some weird shit, doing fly weird shit, man. What you mean?
I remember that. Definitely remember that.
That shit hurt my heart. I'm like, you wasn't a backpacker? What?
He just wore a Louis Vuitton backpack. No, that's all. He just wore the backpack. That's all.
I just wore the backpack because my NPC was in that thing. I wasn't fucking with y'all niggas. Like, you know what I'm saying? So that's why the newer generation, even now to this day, is like, I'm going to do whatever we want to do, which should be awarded. It should be awarded that they want to do something new and unique. Yeah. Should you like it, old head? No, you don't have to like it, but you got to respect it because we did the exact same thing to our predecessors. That's all I'm
saying. And you can't knock the hustle, pretty much.
Can't knock the hustle, man, at all.
Get it in. Beautiful. But it was Kingdom Come when it happened. It was like 04, 05 or something like that. Okay. Last one. Have some fun.
Mm-hmm.
Happy birthday, hip hop. Where would this thing of ours have started if it didn't start in New York, Counselor? Where is the birthplace of hip hop if it didn't start out in the Bronx?
It gotta be.
Depending on who you ask.
No, it gotta be Compton. If it wasn't going to be in New York, it was going to be Compton. I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, California preferably, but I'll say Compton because of the circumstance. Like circumstance in hip hop makes for people to break barriers.
They were fresh off the Watts Rise, weren't they? Like,
come on, man.
They were fresh in people's minds.
The height of NWA was because of the things that was happening, crack epidemic, gangs. So I feel like, you know, hip hop was made from being able to do something that was different from what was there. You know, like my business partner Badru, he always says, like, you know, in hip hop in music there are rules. Don't scratch the record. Let the record play. Hip hop completely defies what that is.
You see my eyes. I didn't hear that. I was kind of lost on the premise. See, I'm like, don't scratch the record.
Like, hip hop actually scratches the record, and it's fire. So hip hop comes from a place of rebelliousness. Anytime there's turmoil or there's hardship, there are few people who find ways to continue life and to continue the energy regardless of what's going on, and that's what hip hop is. That's why in every core of our beings of life, during the situations where it gets the hardest, hip hop thrives the most. Always.